Hello and welcome to another Blue Sun Gaming Battle Report. We're back with Necromunda. This time something a little bit different. We have the Steel Renegades of House Orlock, the Slave Ogryns Smarticus, and the mercenary enforcers, the Ripperjacks, all starring in a custom scenario. Now, let's check out the gangs. Here we have the Slave Ogryns Smarticus, led by the mighty Roger. He's armed with paired augmented fists, incendiary charges, a stim slug, and he's wearing a furnace plate over an armoured undersuit. And he knows the skill, Rag. Now we have 3 lobotomised slaves, all armed the same, with Spudjacker, Stim Slug, and hazard suits. Here we have Zach, Little Petey, and the new recruit, Bodie McBoatface. And the Slave Ogryns have 2 fighters not able to participate in this battle because they're in recovery, Wild Bill and Marky Mark. And here we have Steel Renegades, and with their leader Odin recovering from an eye injury, Armsmaster Locke is taking charge. He's armed with a combat shotgun and mesh armor, and he knows the shotgun savant skill. And second in command today, Road Sergeant Brack. He's armed with a bolt pistol, an auto pistol, and he knows the nerves of steel skill. That's his Skip, he's armed with a grenade launcher. Jim, he's got a shotgun. Mitch, he's got a chainsword and an auto pistol. And Aero, he's got an auto gun. And finally, Clancy with a stub gun and auto pistol. And over here, missing the battle because they're in recovery, we have Odin, Seb, and Reed. Ripperjack's mercenary group, all armed with carapace armor. And this guy here has a heavy stubber and a stub gun. And then a grenade launcher and a stub gun. And then 4 more Ripperjacks, all armed with carapace armor, bolt guns, stub guns, and the bolt gun has an underslung grenade launcher, which means they can have 1 shot with either a frag or a crack grenade per battle. All of them also know the Overwatch skill, and we'll be putting that to good use early on in the game. And in terms of statistics, they have the same profile as a normal enforcer. The Ripperjacks are transporting 2 high-profile prisoners, one from House Orlock and one Slave Ogryns. Their path takes them through a secluded area of the Underhive, where they've hauled up in an armoured outpost. The 2 prisoners locked up and bound securely. So here we have the armoured outpost in the middle, with 2 entries, both doors are locked, and all the Ripperjacks keeping watch on the walls for any suspicious activity. To breach the outpost, you'll either have to climb the wall or go through one of the double doors. The doors can be breached in one of 2 ways. They can either be bashed down using the rules in the rulebook, and in this case you roll a d6 and add your strength, plus 2 for every assisting fighter. If the total is a 9 or more, the door has been breached and removed from the table. Alternatively, if you wanted to use your brains, you can make an intelligence check while in contact with the door to hack it and open it up. We check this by rolling 2d6, and if the result is equal or over than our intelligence, you've managed to succeed. Once the doors are breached, the mercenary enforcers, the Ripperjacks, will be controlled by a third party, rolling initiative and making actions as normal. Once inside the outpost, fighters can access the cell doors. Both prisoners are in this container right here, each side containing a different prisoner. The doors in the cell are breached exactly the same way as the doors in the outpost. Once the cell has been opened, we'll place the prisoner on the battlefield in base-to-base contact with the cell. The fighter will have no equipment and 1 wound left. At that point, the gang needs to escort them off the battlefield. If they succeed in doing this, they'll be successful in the mission and get to add 1 champion level fighter with 10 experience to their gang roster. Of course, the other method, if you're the last gang left on the battlefield, it's assumed that you can get the cell open and free the prisoner also. While the gangs approach, the Ripperjack will not activate normally. Instead, they'll just hold their action and use their Overwatch skill. The Ripperjacks will allow each gang 1 warning shot, so the first time either member is targeted by one of the Ripperjacks, it'll be aimed at the ground. After that, if the gang does not move away and retreat, all other shots fired will be of the lethal variety. Now without further ado, let's check out deployment and then get straight into the action. So deployment for the Slave Ogryns Smarticus, we have them all huddled here in a group out of line of sight of the Ripperjacks, Roger in the middle, surrounded by his 3 lobotomized slaves. And then across the other side, past the armoured outpost, we have the Steel Renegades. And they're split into 2 groups, one taking up the centre, consisting of Skip, Locke, Mitch, and Jim, and a smaller force on the flank, consisting of Brack, Clancy, and Aero. Now let's get to the initiative roll for turn 1. And that's a 3-1, so Smarticus win. First up, we have Little Petey. Now looking to advance his position, he moves up twice with both of his actions. The second action, however, will provoke an overwatch shot from this Ripperjack here. With shells ringing off the ground in front of little Piggy, Smarticus have been warned. And this Ripperjack here up on the walkway has been activated. Now we are just going to speed this bit up a little bit because it just involves both gangs moving up tentatively, using cover, staying out of line of sight of most of the Ripperjacks. Skip right here moves out into the open. As he dashes across to this old machine, this Ripperjack up on the wall takes a warning shot. Some more cold shells ringing off the Underhive floor. The Steel Renegades have now been warned. Any more advances on the outpost will be met by deadly gunfire. Smarticus forming up a little conga line with Roger at the back. He's got his faithful meat shields in the way. The Steel Renegades are playing it pretty safe. The central force pushing their position a little bit, and the left hand flank nestling up against the wall. The Ripperjacks have him a bit scared. And that wraps up the turn. And in the end phase, we're going to have this Ripperjack here on the tower turn around to face Smarticus, and the heavy stubber turn around to face the Steel Renegades. Initiative roll for turn 2. And Smarticus win again. Lobotomized slaves aren't known for their intelligence. Little Petey skirts around these boxes looking to run straight for that door, right out to the open into the hail of bolt gun fire. Before that happens, this Ripperjack up here will take his overwatch shot. It's a -1 for cover there, so he's hitting on a 5+. That 6 will do it, and there's 2 shots. And one of them does wound, so little Petey's in a bit of trouble. And he fails his armor save. Bolt gun does 2 wounds, so he's going to cause an injury roll, and that puts him down seriously injured. And that's it for Smarticus. Now Skip getting in a good position last turn, he's going to aim and then fire a frag grenade right at this guy's feet. Oh, and unfortunately that too does miss, so it is going to scatter off to the side and explode in the air. Now it's Bodie McBoatface's turn. His task, run towards the door out in the open to a hail of gunfire. This Ripperjack here does activate using his overwatch with his heavy stub gun. -1 to hit, hitting on 5s. That does miss. A lot of gunfire going wide. Now Bodie McBoatface is able to activate normally, and he just uses both of his actions to move up next to the door. Now over to Juve Clancy, who is on distraction duty. He crosses his fingers and runs out into the open. That's going to provoke an overwatch shot from this Ripperjack on the tower. He's going to try and put a grenade launcher right into Clancy's chest. And he's out in the open, so a 4+, that connects, and it wounds. Crack grenade does 2 wounds, so it's 2 injury dice. Ooh, and there's the skull. First blood to the Ripperjacks. Clancy goes out of action. He did serve as a pretty good distraction, however, clearing a path for the more experienced members of the gang. And let's see what happens to Clancy. Ooh, and that's a critical injury. Well, he did take a crack grenade to the chest. And that was a group activation with Brack as the second half. Now the path is clear, he moves up twice, gets some cover behind this old machine. Over to Smarticus again. With both the Ripperjacks on this side of the outpost already activated, Zack is free to advance without any danger, and he does so twice, up next to his friend Bodie McBoatface. Sarah's turn now, and he dashes around the corner up behind these stairs, kneeling down, and then aims to have a shot up at that Ripperjack. However, before that happens, this Ripperjack is going to use his overwatch skill to shoot at Arrow. The stairs are providing Arrow with heavy cover, so the Ripperjack's looking for a 6+ to hit, and that 4 misses. Now Arrow's free to take his shot back. Likewise, it's a -2 for him, so it's another 6+. Oh, but that hits with 2 shots from his autogun, so these are wounding on a 4+. One of them is successful. Now an armor save, that's also a 4+, does fail it, so now it's an injury roll. And that has put the Ripperjack down seriously injured. Now initiative check to see if he falls off the building. The barricade gives him a +1, which means he just succeeds. So he just goes down seriously injured, still on top of the wall. Nice shooting by Arrow. One Ripperjack down. Now over to the big boss Roger, who also moves up right near this door. The Ogryns all lined up, ready to take a run at that door next turn. Now that all the Ripperjacks on the Steel Renegade side have been activated, they're also free to advance without any danger. So Jim goes and vaults this pipe, takes cover behind these barrels. And then Mitch follows closely behind his friend, advances up to here. And finally over to Arms Master Locke, who takes a more cautious approach, backing off and using this container as some cover, an overview of the battlefield, and that wraps up the turn. Now the recovery phase, first up Little Petey. Ooh, and he goes out of action. And he's also critically injured, so we'll resolve that at the end of the battle. Now for this Ripperjack up here, who stays down seriously injured. Now I did roll bottle tests for both sides, none of them bottled and they're staying in the fight, so let's go to another initiative roll. And seems to be a bit of a trend, Smarticus up first again. Now Bodie McBoatface is going to try and smash down this door. He's looking for a 4+. First one fails. He's going to use his second action to have another go. This time it does succeed. And the door's being breached. The Ogryns are coming. And now to the Steel Renegades. Jim's up first for them. He dashes forward quickly with his first action to the door and then tries to hack it using his intelligence. So he's got 2d6 looking for a 7+. Fortunately, he fails with that 5. Because the Slave Ogryns have now breached the outpost, the Ripperjacks are going to start to activate normally. It's this Ripperjack here, it's his turn. Advances down the stairs to here, and then lines up Bodie McBoatface. There's a little bit of cover involved here, but with that one, all the bullets spray wide harmlessly. Now it's Roger's turn. Unfortunately, he's not quite in striking distance, so he just repositions to the other side of this door, nestling in this little nook to get some cover from this Ripperjack here. It's the Steel Renegades again, and it's Mitch. He moves up twice, right next to his friend Jim. Now this Ripperjack up here on the tower with the grenade launcher decides to retaliate against Skip. Turns around, aims, and then shoots a frag grenade right at the ground next to him. Now because he aimed, that 3 will hit. Now let's check to see if the grenade knocks him back. With that 4, it will knock him back into these crates, which is going to increase the damage to 2. But that doesn't matter because the 3 fails to wound. Skip, however, is going to go down pinned. And now to Zach, and he follows the example of Roger, moves around to the other side of the door and stands right in front of him like a nice little meat shield that he is. It's Arrow's turn now, and he aims and fires his autogun up at this Ripperjack with the grenade launcher on the top. Unfortunately, that 3 misses and it's an ammo roll. But he's fine with that 6. Now it's this Ripperjack's turn, and he just advances behind this railing, which is going to get the bolt gun into short range. Then he's going to take a shot at Zach. It's a -1/+1 because of aiming and cover, so he's hitting on a 4. Fortunately, that 3 misses, and Zach escapes unscathed. Now over here to Brack on the flank, and he dashes forward across the open ground, up next to his companions. The Ripperjack here in the centre with his heavy stubber has a nice lane of fire on Bodie McBoatface, spins around and then lets off a hail of lead. Now I did lose some footage here, but the Ripperjack missed with all the shots and managed to fail an ammo check. Locks up now without any good targets. He gets a move on, makes some ground, closing in on the Ripperjack's outpost. In response, this Ripperjack here is going to climb up onto the wall, which is going to give him a nice angle on Locke, and he lets it rip with his bolt gun. There is a -2 for cover, so he's looking for a 6, and unfortunately, that does miss. Back to the Steel Renegades with Skip. Now he is pinned, so he spends his first action getting up, and then he's going to airmail a frag grenade back up to that Ripperjack. And this time his aim is true. Now strength 3 on toughness 3, so a 4 to wound, and that does it. Now Ripperjack's armor is a 4+, and that fails, and the grenade doesn't knock him back. But we do have to check initiative to see if he falls off. That puts him in some trouble. He's going to take a little tumble off the edge of the tower. But before that, we've got an injury dice to roll, and that skull takes him down. It blows his limp body off the top of the tower, ruined and mangled onto the Underhive floor. That wraps the turn, so we're on to recovery for this guy on the wall. then he's still down seriously injured. Now bottle for the Steel Renegades, and they're still fine, not going anywhere. Now for Smarticus, and unfortunately they only started with a few fighters, so that is Smarticus bottling. Ripperjacks no longer activating reactively, they are going to participate in the initiative roll. So it's going to be Ripperjacks, Steel Renegades, and finally Smarticus. Firstly, Roger's going to make a nerve test to see if he can keep the boys around. At 10 easily does it, and they're all within his bubble. Now this Ripperjack at the base of the stairs, he's going to activate first. He's going to aim his bolt gun, then fire everything right at Bodie McBoatface. So this is going to be hitting on 2s, gets him only one shot, and it's an ammo check. Unfortunately, he runs out of ammo in his bolt gun. And strength 4 and toughness 5, so a 5 to wound, that 2 fails, and because he's a lobotomized slave, he doesn't actually get pinned. Now it's over to Lock, and of course, he's going to move up, try and open that door. He's going to show all these other plebs how it's done. Intelligence check, and he's looking for a 6+. Well, that's embarrassing. He fails, and his turn's over. Now to Smarticus with Bodie McBoatface, he moves twice, advances down underneath this platform. Now this Ripperjack here with the heavy stubber, he's going to try and reload. First action, fails. Second action, fails again. Well, he's been pretty useless. He should have brought some extra ammo. Right, Steel Renegades, they got to get this door open, so Jim's up. He's in contact, so he's just going to make an intelligence check. This time, succeeds, so he hacks it open. The door malfunctions and it slides aside. The Orlocks have now breached the outpost. Still got one action left, and he's going to use it to take a shot with his shotgun right through at this Ripperjack with solid slugs, and nails him with that 5. And the hit's good enough to knock him back 1 inch, so we'll do that right now. Now he's looking for a 3+ to wound. That one fails, but it does pin the Ripperjack. That Ripperjack didn't enjoy that much, so he's just going to leap back up to his feet and then shoot back at Jim. Bottle fires from range and cover are going to cancel each other out, so he's looking for a 4+. And he misses with a burst of shots spraying wide. Over to Smarticus with Zach. He's out of charge range there, so he spends both his actions getting right up into this Ripperjack's personal space. So it's Clancy's turn now, and he's been a bit of a crack shot this battle. He moves out wide to get an angle on that Ripperjack, and then lets it rip with his autogun. But this time he sprays all the bullets wide. Now it's over to the main man of Smarticus, the mighty Roger. He moves around the corner right to here, and then he's going to lob an incendiary charge up at this Ripperjack. Oh, and that one is a fumble, so he drops the charge right at his feet. Fumble means we send the template right on Roger. Fortunately for Zach, he's just out of the blast. Now because you're throwing grenades, we have to check ammo. Well, that 6 passes, so he's still got some charges. Now to see if he wounds himself, but he's fine with that too. Finally, he's got to see if he sets himself on fire. That 4 would normally succeed, but Roger does have a hazard suit, so he's immune to the blaze condition. So really, no harm done. I think he just did that for cinematic effect. Now this Ripperjack, hearing autogun fire whistling past his head, turns, takes a shot back at him. He's going to spend his first action to aim, so he's going to hit on a 3+. That 5 will do it, and it's 2 shots. Now 3's to wound here, and that 4 does succeed. He doesn't have an armor save, so it's straight to injuries, and the bolt gun does 2 wounds, so that's 2 dice. Flesh wound, and a seriously injured result. Arrow goes down. Now it's over to Skip, and he's looking to get some revenge. He aims with his first action, and then shoots a crack grenade across at that Ripperjack. Yep, and that nails him right in the chest. And that 6 will wound. -2 modifier for the crack grenade, so he's looking for a 6 to save, and unfortunately that 4 fails. That Ripperjack's going to topple off the wall unless he can pass an initiative check, and that 3 fails just. And the crack grenade does 2 wounds, so 2 injury rolls, and he's going to go down seriously injured and take a flesh wound. He does take a hit from falling off the wall, but that 1 fails to wound him. Over to Mitch, and with the door now open, he's going to move to here and then take a close range shot with his auto pistol at that Ripperjack. That 5 hits with 3 shots. This could be nasty. Luckily for the Ripperjack, however, only one of them wounds. Now he's got an armor save, but fails again. Have they even succeeded 1? And another Ripperjack hits the deck, goes down seriously injured. This battle's getting interesting. And the last activation for the turn is going to be Brack. and he just moves twice into the doorway, looking to get to that cell and maybe crack it open and get that prisoner free. Now recovery phase, starting with this Ripperjack here up on the wall, and he's still down seriously injured. And Arrow over here, and there's no change there. And then lastly, this Ripperjack right here. And with the gurgle, he bleeds out. Another one out of action. And bottle test for the Orlocks, but they're still hanging around. Now to initiative, this time it's the Steel Renegades, followed by the Ripperjacks, and lastly it's Smarticus. But of course, before the turn starts, we have to check to see if Roger can keep the troops around. And that 8 easily does it. The Steel Renegades first, and it's going to be a group activation with Brack and Mitch. Brack's up first. He's going to advance to here, getting his bolt pistol in close range of Bodie McBoatface. Then he's going to take his shot. That 5 will get him, but it is an ammo roll. And he runs out of ammo in his bolt pistol. Now wounding on a 5+, fortunately that fails. Now he's a Lobo Slave, so it doesn't go down pinned. Brack couldn't get the job done, let's see if Mitch can. He's going to aim and then shoot his auto pistol at Bodie McBoatface. And he does crank him there, only one shot and it's an ammo roll. I'm going to do that first, and he easily succeeds with that 6. Now he's looking for a 5+ to wound, and that's another 2, which is another failure. Now he did forget to roll recovery for this Ripperjack, and he does actually recover with that flesh wound result. So we're going to activate him right now. When I went to pull off the activation counter, I actually grabbed the flesh wound, so please forgive this mistake. We're just going to chalk it up to, he had his wheat bix in the morning, was feeling particularly fit. He's going to use his once per game underslung grenade launcher and pump a crack grenade right into Bodie's face. That one misses, grenade goes flying wide. Now to Smarticus with the brains of the bunch, Roger. Let's see if he can improve on his performance from last turn. He's going to lob a grenade in the direction of the Orlocks. He's probably going to hit somebody. Ooh, and what a throw. Lands it right where it wants it, and this blast is going to engulf 3 Orlocks. But unfortunately that was his last grenade. Now we're going to resolve Mitch first. He does get wounded, and he's on fire. Now he's going to go down pinned. Now let's check armor. That 5 succeeds. So he's just on his face and on fire. Now Arms Master Lock. Fire doesn't wound him. And Blaze check fails. So Lock escapes unharmed. Of course he does go down pinned. Now finally, let's see what happens to Mitch. And he gets wounded, but not set on fire. Firstly, he goes down pinned. Now Mitch, unfortunately, does fail his armor save, so let's roll in an injury roll. But it's just a flesh wound, so that was definitely a little bit of carnage. What a throw by Roger. Arms Master locks up now, gets up with his first action, and then shoots his combat shotgun through at Bodie. But unfortunately misses with that too. Now to this Ripperjack up on the platform. First action he's going to aim, and then he's going to try and shoot at Bodie. He's more likely to take him out with his bolt gun. But to do this we've got to make a leadership check. So he does fail that, which means he needs to shoot the closest target, which is Roger. So this Ripperjack into Roger, aiming close range, so he's hitting on a 2+, and he nails him with 2 shots. Now of course it's 5+ to wound. Wow, but that's 2 6s. Roger could be in a bit of trouble. And the bolt gun negates his save, so he's going to take 2 wounds and go down pinned first, and then we're going to roll a couple of injury dice in, and he escapes with just a double flesh wound. That was a close call for the mighty Roger. Now over to Smarticus with Bodie, and he's looking to make a charge. The more immediate threat is Brack, so he charges across at Brack. He's just a Lobo Slave, so he's only hitting on 4s. All of them miss. What a disaster. Now Brack gets to swing back, and after a flurry of attacks, does manage to land one of them. That 6 manages to wound, and Bodie does have a 6+ armor save and succeeds. So in the end, no harm done. They just slapped each other around a little bit. He's skips up now. He no longer has a line of sight to anything, so he skirts out to here to get line of fire on Boaty. Now, Boaty's in combat, so it's a -1 to hit. That 6 easily hits. 3+ to wound, that does it. And the crack grenade ignores his armor, so it's straight to injuries. Just rolling 1 dice because the Lobo Slave's got 2 wounds. And he goes down seriously injured right at Brack's feet. Alright, it's his Ripperjack here, it's his turn again. He pulls his stub gun out, and that's a shot at Roger on the ground. But pathetic attempt at 1 fails. And then with his second action, he will try and reload his heavy stubber, and fails again. Alright, now it's Zach's turn, and he's going to charge that Ripperjack on the platform. That 6 easily makes the distance, so he comes barreling up the stairs and engages this Ripperjack. 3 attacks on the charge and he's hitting on 4s. This time he connects with 2. Now Spudjacker has knockback, so slams him back into the wall. Zach follows up. 2 wound rolls, and 1 of them succeeds. But Ripperjack's got an armor save, but he fails again. Armor is made out of paper. Because of the increased damage, it's 2 injury rolls, and that's on the charge. That seriously injury result takes him out of action. So another Ripperjack gone, splattered against the wall. Now Clancy, who's crawling around on the floor. He just moves closer to his friends, so now it's Jim, and he is on fire. First takes a strength 3 hit, which fails to wound. Now he's going to run in a random direction. And he runs over here, right near these stairs. Then he's going to choose to go prone and pinned, try and put himself out. He's looking for a 4+, and he's no longer afflicted by the blaze condition. And that wraps the turn, so it's recovery again. This Ripperjack up on the wall. And finally recovers. And now to Arrow, it's unchanged, still seriously injured. And finally for Boaty, ooh, and that's a skull. Another Ogryn goes down, their numbers are starting to dwindle. And roll his lasting injury at the end of the battle. Bottle tests for Steel Renegades, and they're still in the fight. So now initiative roll, this time it's going to be Smarticus, followed by Steel Renegades, and finally the Ripperjacks. Considering Roger's got no wounds left and he's down 2 flesh wounds, he decides that it's best to take off, and they voluntarily bottle, fleeing the battlefield. He stomps away, bellowing retreat commands to his faithful subjects. Now it's just the Ripperjacks and the Steel Renegades. Ripperjack's up first, and it's going to be this one up on the wall who's finally recovered. Now hitting on 3s because of the short range, that 4 will do it, and it's 3 shots. Just pumped him full of lead. Wounding on 3s also. It's 2 wounds. He does have mesh armor, so it's a 5+. Oh, and both of those just failed because of the -1 from the bolt gun. It's 4 wounds in total. Brack takes 1 wound and then 3 injury rolls. And there it is, the dreaded skull. The Ripperjack, even up the score. Gonna check lasting injuries for Brack. And he's just out cold. Now Brack died in close proximity to some of his gang members, so panic checks. Arms Master locked, totally fine. Now Mitch, his nerve holds. Speaking of Mitch, his turn now. He's going to stand up with his first action and then shoot that Ripperjack close range with his auto pistol. And cranks him with that 4, but it's only 1 shot. Another 4, that'll wound him. Now this Ripperjack goes down pinned. He's got an armor save of 4+. Let's see if he can do it. This time the Ripperjack's armor turns all the bullets aside. This Ripperjack wants a bit of retribution. He stands up, pulls his stub pistol out, and then shoots back. Got a bit of a gunfight going on here. Short range shots +2 to hit, he's hitting on 2+. And that hits. And it wounds. Mitch has an armor save, which does fail. Injury roll. Down seriously injured. Now it's Locke's turn, and he's going to attempt to shotgun this Ripperjack up here on the platform in the back. After all modifiers, he's hitting on 2s. And he just gets him with 3 shots from the combat shotgun. That was pretty vicious, now wounding on 3s, so that's 2 wounds. The Ripperjack succeeds 1 of its saves. Shotgun does 2 wounds, so it's 2 injury rolls. Double seriously injured. Our Ripperjack goes down. Initiative test to see if he falls off. That'll fail, so he's going to topple off his perch. The flurry of shotgun blasts blows him backwards off this platform. There's not many Ripperjacks left now. This guy is going to activate. He's just going to crawl his way behind this container. It's just Steel Renegades left. Jim's up and he's just going to advance to here by these barrels. And Aero, who's going to crawl closer to his companions. Last but not least, it's Skip. He's going to aim and then try and shoot a crack grenade to the back of that Ripperjack up on the platform. After all modifiers, he's going to be hitting on a 5+. That was close. The Ripperjack ducks at the last minute and the grenade flies wide. Recovery phase. Is Ripperjack? He stays down. Now Aero. It's the dreaded skull. Another one bites the dust. And Mitch, he's still down, seriously injured. And a bottle check for the Steel Renegades. They're still hanging around. They really want that prisoner. Initiative. Ripperjack's roll of 6. Steel Renegades 5. Their numbers are dwindling, but this guy's still got ammo in his bolt gun. He's going to aim and shoot down at Jim. That 5 hits him, but it is an ammo roll, and he fails. So just stub guns left for the Ripperjacks. That 6 wounds him. He doesn't have an armor save, so straight to injuries. And another Steel Renegade bites the dust. Flesh wound, seriously injured. It's over to Lock. Let's see if he can make an example of this Ripperjack. From this range he's hitting on a 2+, but he flubs it with a 1. Now he's going to use his second action to advance on the cell. Getting in good position to have a crack at opening it next turn. Righty, back to the Ripperjacks. We only have 1 left to activate. Doesn't have many options, so he moves up to here and then takes a short range blast with his stub gun back at Lock. Now from this range he's hitting on 2s. And he cranks it with that 3. Let's see if he runs out of ammo. Oh, and he has. So now he's got no ammo in his bolt gun or his stub gun. It was totally worth it though, because that 5 does wound. Armor safe for Lock, and he passes. We will go down pinned. Skip's up now, and he's going to try again to take that Ripperjack out with a crack grenade. And history does repeat itself. He misses again. And the last 2 Steel Renegades, Mitch and Aero, just crawled around, getting closer to their friends. Now let's check to see if they can get up in the recovery phase. Aero, and he recovers. But Mitch is still down. And bottle test, that's another 1. Now initiative, and it's the Ripperjacks again. And of course they're going to activate the only Ripperjack that actually has bullets first. He's going to aim and shoot down at Lock. And he hits. And wounds. And Lock fails his save. But he's a tough nugget and he's got 2 wounds, so he's down to 1 wound. Now because he's in the most danger, it's Lock's turn first for the Steel Renegade. Stand up and shotgun this guy from close range. But his bad form continues, and he misses again. Ripperjack decides the only way is to charge. Hand-to-hand combat's not really where he wants to be. Desperate times calls for desperate measures. He's got 2 attacks hitting on 4s, and they both miss. Now Lock gets a swing back, he's got 2 attacks. Both of them hit. And they both wound. One of the hits does get through his armor, so now it's an injury roll. But it's just a flesh wound. Lock just smashes the Ripperjack in the face with the stock of the shotgun. Alright, Skip again. Let's see if he can finally connect with this Ripperjack. Same as before, crack grenade to face. And this time, he gets him, but it is an ammo check. That fails, so he's out of crack grenades. Now he's wounding on 2s because it does have a flesh wound and that'll do it. Looking for a 6 on the armor save because of the modifiers, that fails. So now 2 injury rolls, and this Ripperjack goes down onto his face again, seriously injured. Now an initiative check, see if he falls off. And he does fall, toppling off the wall, landing right at Lock's feet. The fall does wound him, he fails his save, and he takes a further flesh wound. So that's 2 flesh wounds. He's got a toughness of 1. So over to Jim, who has recovered in the last turn. So he gets up, he just walks over to here, looking to get back in the fight. Recovery phase. This Ripperjack here, it's another flesh wound, which means he bleeds out, goes out of action. And then Jim, who's still down, seriously injured. Bottle test again, which the Orlock succeed. They ain't going anywhere, they can smell victory. Initiative. Can the Steel Renegades win it for once? Nope, that's a 1. Ripperjack's going first again. And right here, the Ripperjack's last hope. He's locked in combat with Lock. He's only got 1 attack because he didn't charge this turn. And that 3 misses. He's in some trouble. Lock's going to strike him back. Yep, and they both hit. And wound. And he does fail one of those saves, so an injury roll incoming. Oh, and that's the dreaded skull. Lock just smashes this Ripperjack's head in with the butt of his shotgun. It's a nasty way to go down. And with that, the Steel Renegades are victorious and will win the scenario, receiving awesome prize of a new champion ganger to their roster. The Steel Renegades can also add the Refuse Drift territory to their gang roster. That battle was a bit of a bloodbath, with plenty of casualties on every side. Definitely made for an exciting battle report, and I really hoped you enjoyed it. The Ripperjack's defense started strongly, but as the battle went on, the armor failed them and they didn't bring enough ammunition, which ultimately led to their downfall. Slave Ogryns got a little bit unlucky, and once again their low model count really hurt them. And with a few fighters out in recovery, it didn't help their cause. And like always, the versatility and resilience of the Orlocks pushed them through and ultimately gave them the victory. And Lock did an exemplary job of leading the forces in Thor's absence, keeping the spirits of his troops high throughout some pretty difficult times. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed this battle report. There is more Necromunda on the way, so I hope you can join us for some of those. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Now let's head to the post game to roll up some income. Before we get there, we have to check to see if Mitch suffers any lasting injuries. With that 6, he escapes just battered and bruised, no lasting injury. Smarticus income from the settlement on D6 times 10. That's a healthy 60 credits. Now checking to see if they gain any more fighters. Double 4, that's a negative. And their bone shrine generating 2d3 times 5. And that's another 30 credits. For a grand total of 90 credits. And the bone dog's going to charge Smarticus 100 credits to keep little Petey around. Now the Steel Renegades are going to check to see how much a bone dog's going to charge Mitch. That's 60 credits. They will pay up. With that 6, just goes into recovery. Now income from the settlement, that's 60 credits. But no dues or gangers generated. D6 times 5 for the toll crossing for another 15 credits. And from the new territory, the refuse pit, 2d6 times 5 for a total of 50 credits. With a cherry on top, the ganger escapes without any further injuries. The grand total for the Steel Renegades is 125 credits. As always, thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that battle report. There's more Necromunda on the way. I really hope you can join us for some of those. Until then, take it easy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.